Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be with you. Brad Macbeth here from The Simple Plan, and it's our regular weekly live session. Today, we're now on our second week, I think it's our second week, of our 8-week track where we're looking at how you can make the most of your finances in 2022. This has taken us through January and most of February, and we're going to look at all the steps that you can take in order to do well with your money. We want to help you make 2022 your best financial year yet. And today's topic is really the number one financial topic that tends to be a part of many people's New Year's resolution, and that is to delete debt, getting rid of debt forever from their lives. It's an essential and powerful step forward in making the most of your finances for this year and for the rest of your life. I want to thank, as always, our sponsor, the Simple Plan community. If you're on our 8-week track here, then hopefully you've joined the Simple Plan community. You can join the Simple Plan community anytime you want. We welcome everyone. And if you want to walk financially with people who are trying to make the most of their lives financially, this is a great place. It's a place for support. It's a place for ideas and encouragement. We have live sessions in there. We put in regular tips and different approaches to different aspects of all your finances. So join us there, won't you? It's at facebook.com/groups/Simple Plan Community. Now, today, we're going to be taking a look at what we call the Debt Snowball. And this is how we plan to get rid of debt. The first question you should be asking yourself, and if you downloaded our financial fitness checklist before, it asks the question, do you have a debt freedom date? That is, do you have a plan where you know that you're going to be rid of debt once and for all on a specific date? And if you don't, you should make such a plan. Now, you can get rid of debt in your life. And when I talk about getting rid of debt, I'm talking about getting rid of all your consumer debt. The only debt that we say, that's a fine debt, keep it going, is the debt to own your personal residence. So if you have a home mortgage, of course, we want to help you get that paid off early as well if you can. But that's not what we're talking about when we're talking about deleting debt. We're talking about all those things that pile up, the credit cards that don't get paid off, the car loans, the student loans, the lines of credit, any other loans that you've got going on. Debt is just such a cancer on your finances, and it's a real scourge in your life. It just adds so much pressure to people's lives. It makes people anxious, and they get very concerned when they don't know how they're going to get rid of debt. And of course, people or businesses everywhere are really aiming at giving you debt because they want you to buy their products. And if you don't have the money, then you can't buy the products. So they're happy to give you the money. But the reason they give you the money is because not only are they making a profit on the product they're selling you, now they're also making a significant profit on the loan that they're giving you. And I don't want to go down a big rabbit hole about debt today and why it's such a problem, but it is a terrible problem for many, many families. And it causes a lot of stress in the home. So we want to help you get rid of that once and for all. Just as an example, if you're looking at buying some furniture, you go to a company. All companies do it. I don't want to pick on any particular company, but you look at a company like The Brick is a big one, but they all have them. Department stores had them traditionally. Not that there's many of those around anymore, but they offer you financing. Buy this couch, buy this sofa. And it's gotten to a point where it's absurd, where you can see places that are offering very small things for sale on 12-month payment plans. a $50 doodad on a 12-month payment plan. It's completely absurd. If you can't afford $50 to pay for something, then you shouldn't be buying it. And that's not a moral judgment I'm making. That's a financial assessment. I'm saying, no, you should be using that $50 for something else. Build up your assets, build up your net worth, and then live like you've got some money to spend. Don't spend money that you don't have to spend. And so we're gonna get right down into it, and I'm gonna show you what we call the debt snowball. This is your plan to get rid of debt once and for all. And so there's two ways you can do it. You can do it by hand. So let me share that with you. So you see, we've made a simple sheet where you can build your own debt snowball plan on paper. Some people prefer it to do it that way. I'm not going to show you today how to do it that way, though I think it'll be fairly obvious from what I am going to show you how to do it that way. But we also do have a tutorial on how to use this particular tool. Let me show it to you. I'll put it right up. If you just go to bit.ly / SP5day-3, you'll get to a page where you can download the Debt Snowball plan, and there's actually a video tutorial on that page as well that will show you exactly how to use the Debt Snowball planner there that's paper. But what I want to show you today, oh, by the way, this is that page that you get to with that URL. And you'll be able to, you can see right there, download the Debt Snowball tool. And you can watch the video on that. Now, what I want to show you today is an online, well, it's really a spreadsheet-based Debt Snowball calculator. Now, this is not our tool, and so you can't download it from our website, but I will give you the URL where you can download it. This is it right here, bit.ly /SP debt calculator. So that's bit.ly /SP debt calculator. And so if you go there, it's going to take you to the page that you see right in front of you. And you're not actually even going to download this. What you're going to do is just start using the spreadsheet. So now there is a tool on their website where you could download the spreadsheet to your own hard drive. But the simplest thing to do is just click on Use Template, and it's going to load this page in Google Sheets. That's Google's, there we go. That's Google's spreadsheet program. It's best if you're using Chrome as a browser when you do this. But now you've got your own spreadsheet and it's yours, and you can use it to map out your debt freedom date. So let's have a look at how you go about doing that. Okay, so what we do, this is just their template, so it's got their data in it. I'm going to clear out most of the data just so I can put in my own data. And we'll do it from the beginning. So what you're going to do, we're going to start with a balance date. So we need to put a correct date in here. So let's say it's, we'll double click it, and then you can use the picker. And we'll just make it into 2022 here. Let's make it the 14th of January. So we want to be getting our dates, our balances as of that date, or at least something pretty close to it. So you're going to go to your statements, your initial documents you got with all your forms, with your loans or what have you. Now, the very typical, I'm going to add one more to this, because what we're seeing here are the very typical types of debt that most Canadian families have. Some don't have all of them, but many of them do. So they have credit card debts, they have auto loans, they have student loans, and they have lines of credit. And now I want to just reiterate, we're not including your home mortgage in this. This is not a part of this equation. But if you've got a line of credit secured against your house, you'd want to get rid of that for sure. All right, so I'm just going to make some numbers up here. You can pull all this from your statements, your paper statements, or your online banking, or wherever you get it. So we'll just say that this one is $3,500 balance, and it has a 19.99% rate. And usually you're paying, it depends on the company, but you're often paying 3%. So this would be the minimum payment. You want to put in here what's the minimum payment that you're required to make. All right, and I'll come back to and tell you what you put in this custom column here. And so then auto loan number one, you might have to dig a bit to find out what your balance is, but let's say this one's $15,000, and the rate, you can find it. You might have heard that it was 0, and maybe that's true, but often if you look at the interest rate disclosure, you'll see that wasn't quite the case. So anyway, let's just say it was 3.5%, and the monthly payment is $450. Again, that's your regular ongoing payment. Say we have another one, $7,500. Maybe this one's a little lower, payment's a little lower, it wasn't as expensive a car. We have another credit card, we're not getting paid off every month. Maybe we think it's a great deal because it's got a better rate. And so again, we're paying 3% monthly. Now student loans, a lot of people are carrying these around. They're really not necessary. Let me tell you right away, these two items, student loans and cars, are something that many, many people have gotten to the point of believing that they are a necessary evil. There's no avoiding them. You can't go to school without student loans. You can't get a car without car loans. That is not true. That is absolutely false. And we'll talk about that in some later weeks as we're talking about making major purchases. But there's no reason now especially to be racking up debt for either of those things. And don't get me started, especially on the student loans and what a racket that is. Okay, so student loans. Let's say you've got $15,000 in outstanding student loans. I don't know what the rates are on those right now. Let's say they're 5%, and you're making monthly payments of $450 on them. And then finally, we have a line of credit. Let me pause there just to comment. A lot of people look at doing consolidation loans and that kind of thing, and that's almost always done, not always, but almost always done using some kind of something that's secured against your house, whether it's a loan or a new line of credit or what have you. If you do that, what you are doing is you are now taking an unsecured debt that the creditor has, limited recourse in ways to get money from you. And don't get me wrong, you should pay those debts. If they're your debts, you should pay them. But you shouldn't lose your house because you bought furniture that you couldn't afford. And that's what you're doing if you take your existing credit cards and pile them together into some kind of consolidation loan or line of credit that's secured to your house. You're now putting your house at risk for that consumer spending. That's one of the main reasons that consolidation loans are a bad idea. The number one reason they're a bad idea is because they generally don't work. All the data shows that most families who use consolidation loans just repeat the behavior. They may get their debt theoretically down to zero, because often they'll attach it to they'll just put it into their home mortgage when they refinance. And it looks like now they have no debt, and then they go rack up more debt. So if you've done that, what you've then done, if you've put it on your home mortgage, is you've now taken that sofa that maybe cost you $1,000 and you're amortizing it over the 25-year life of your home mortgage. It's a terrible idea. Anyway, I digress. So let's say you've got a line of credit that's at $15,000 because you did some home renovations, and it's at prime plus a couple, so maybe it's around 5.5%. And you're making just the modest payment on it of $200 a month, which is kind of the never, never plan. All right, so that's all our data on our debts. So then, so you notice this, which seems like, well, you know, not too out of control. It's $61,000 in debt, and it's $1,605 a month. It's crushing. That's $1,600 a month. Of that, let's see, 100, 200, and about $280 a month is going to interest. Okay, so this is where we put in how much our snowball is going to be. And our snowball is going to attack our debts and work away hard at getting them out. So I'll just put in the minimum payment. So if we were making the minimum payment, we have no snowball, right? So if we make the minimum payment of $1,605, we're not making any further progress. So let me just, well, that won't matter right now. So if we go down, we're going to see that right now, these folks are 3.5 years away from paying off their debt. So they got this program to last. If they didn't add any more debt, and if they maintained all these payments, they would pay it off in 3.5 years. Now, a lot of people go, oh, well, you know, if I pay off the lowest balance or the highest interest rate, that's mathematically a better idea. That's called an avalanche. But what you'll see is it doesn't make that much difference if you were to go after the highest rate first or you go with the lowest balance. So let me explain to you what the snowball is. The idea of the snowball is that first off, let's come up with some extra money. So last week we went through our budget. We went through our cash flow. So let's say, look, we're going to find another $200 a month so that we can commit to this. So rather than paying $1,605, we're going to pay $1,805, an extra $200 a month. You'll see our snowball is $200. So how much faster do we get things paid off then? Well, that's 5 months faster. We're now 3 years and 1 month fast. So we're now 5 months faster. But look how much our interest cost has gone down. Almost $1,200, I think that is. So we are making some serious progress there just by adding $200 a month. And then what it's going to do, the snowball is going to pay off the lowest balance first, and then go subsequently after the next lowest balance, right? So it would pay off card number 1 here first, and then card number 2, and then it would pay off auto loan 2, and then it's going to pay off auto loan. I'm not sure. It's probably picking the higher interest rates then and going after those two, maybe the auto. I don't know for sure. But that's the idea, is that it's going to, in fact, let's make these just different so we can tell which one it's paying off. Okay, so so what it does is when we do this, that means we're going to take this $1,805, and once we've paid off this first credit card, which means we no longer have that $105 payment, we're still going to continue with monthly payments totaling $1,805. So that $105 a month payment is now going to get applied to the next lowest debt. It's now going to get applied to card number 2. So that's going to speed up the process of card number 2 getting paid off. And then once card number 2 is paid off, the 105 plus the 150 plus the 200, so that's 455, is going to be applied monthly to the next lowest, which is going to be auto loan number 2. And which after we paid off, it's going to be auto loan 1, and on it goes. And so this is what really increases the pace at which we get that paid off. So we went from 30 months to 25 months. So we knocked about 17% of time, where we're paying it off 17% faster. And that's just by adding in an additional $200 and then sticking with these payments. Not going, okay, great, I got rid of credit card number 1. Now I'm going to take that $105 a month and I can go out to dinner once a month or whatever. That's not the approach. You want to apply yourself to get this paid off as fast as possible. And so you can also look at it and say, well, okay, I found $200 a month in my budget. What if I go out and get some side hustle that's going to pay me another $200 a month that I can put toward this? I mean, that's not much, right? You could do that in a day with, various things like pick your poison, skip the dishes, or Instacart, or Uber, or whatever. So let's add that additional 200 in. So now we're at 2005. So we were going to be 3 years and 1 month. Now we just shaved another 4 months. 4 months off of that. And once you get to the end of this, you're now going to have freed up that $2,000 a month. So it's easy to go, how am I going to make these extra payments? Here's the thing. Here's what, the Bible, which is the most widely read book of knowledge throughout history, says the borrower is slave to the lender. And so you can see the kind of slavery that we're in when we borrow this money, because we're working. How much do you have to work? How much do you have to work to make that $1,600 a month payment? And you don't have any choice about it. You've made these commitments. Now, of course, you're getting the use of your car. You've got your education and whatever stuff you bought on your credit cards. But right here, this 130, 50, 275 a month, 280, whatever it is in interest, you are obligated to pay that every single month. And if you didn't make the principal payments, you'd be obligated to pay it off, to make those payments in perpetuity. So we don't want that. You'd be freeing up this $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. Can you imagine how much money that could grow into if you were investing it? You could retire very, very well, or you could retire much sooner. But instead, this is all spending our future. We're mortgaging our futures. And you want to know who's getting rich off it is banks and bank shareholders, credit card company shareholders. So, and I'm not hitting on them about this. They have great businesses. I encourage people to invest in their stocks, but they're in the business of selling debt. That is their business. And they've aligned themselves and allied themselves with the vast majority of consumer and service companies that are trying to sell you stuff. Car companies and car dealerships, furniture companies and furniture dealerships, they are in the business not just of selling you a car, not just of selling you a sofa, but of selling you debt. The car dealerships don't make that great money from selling you a new car. If you buy a new car, pay them cash, make your best deal, pay them cash, and then go and get your car serviced elsewhere, they haven't made a lot of money. The car company, they'll make money on parts down the road, but other than that, they tend to make their money both in the service department when you go and get your car serviced, but also they make good money on car financing. That's why they want to give you the loan. They actually don't want you to pay cash now. They want you to take the loan because that's another profit center for them. That's the same is true of companies like the Brick and all these other companies. They're not just trying to sell you a product, they're trying to sell you debt. And when they sell you debt, you're mortgaging your future to pay them the money that they're making from selling you that debt. They are buying your future time because you're going to have to work to pay that extra cost, to pay that extra debt for them. Now, if that doesn't sound like some kind of indentured servitude, I don't know what does. So, to go back to this is how you can figure out what you can do and what your debt freedom date is. So if I ask this person this question, what's your debt freedom date? They would say, well, it's October 2024. And this isn't a very aggressive approach. If you want to look at really aggressive, what if you could really ramp it up? What if you could go to $3,000 a month? Go and get some real extra part-time work and get this stuff dealt with. How fast would that happen? Now we're down to 1 month, 1 year, 10 months, 22 months from the initial, 30 whatever. But look at how much less interest we're paying. We're down from $6,000 down to $2,800. That's $3,200 in your pocket from your productivity. So people don't understand what a cancer debt is on their finances because they generally don't see the numbers. The number one question people ask is, can I make the payments? So you'll note, and maybe you probably don't even notice now. This started happening probably 10, 15, maybe it's 20 years ago now, but certainly 10 or 15, that car companies, the car dealerships that got those big signs on the road, financing available, and it shows you how much your payment would be. And it used to say, well, it's going to be $350 a month. Well, they don't quote you in months anymore. They went to quoting it bi-weekly because the payment numbers were getting too high. Well, now they quote you weekly. Hey, listen, it's only $94 a month for our car. Okay. Well, that's, $400 a month. And the other way they've kept it low is they've turned those loans not into 5-year loans or 3-year loans, but into 7 and 8-year loans. People are taking 84 months, 7 years. And if they drive the car much, that car may be getting toward the end of its useful life after 7 years. So and that just puts you on that treadmill. Oh, well, I'll go refinance. One of the big traps people fall into is they'll take their car, which hasn't even been fully paid off yet, go and get a new car. So they've got the existing car loan, they get a new car with a new car loan, and they roll the old car loan into the new car loan. So the old car is gone, and you're still making payments on the old car, which is long gone, and now you're making payments on the new car. There are so many debt traps out there. But the only question people ask, because they want lifestyle, is, can I make the payment? And that's a huge problem with mortgages as well. And I won't get into that today. We are going to look at, in our 8-week series here, buying a home and what that's all about. How to make the decision about how much home you want or how much home you can afford. So I hope you found this helpful. I really encourage you to make a plan to get out of debt. It's absolutely crucial. And the freedom, that is real financial freedom, when you don't owe anybody anything. And you can ask people, especially people who've paid off not only all their debts, but they paid off their house. There's a kind of self-sufficient freedom financially there that is quite liberating. When you have no debt, it's a very powerful feeling. And even if you've still got a mortgage, when you've gotten rid of all this consumer debt and you've gotten rid of the habits that keep putting you into that consumer debt, then you start to feel really freed up. The other thing you'd feel is you don't feel compulsive. You walk through the mall. You don't feel like, oh, I've got to get some of that stuff. I'm missing out. You don't feel like, well, I got to go get that new couch. It's like, well, do I have the money set aside? Have I saved up a couple $1,000s or whatever you're going to spend for a new couch? And I'll tell you, when you feel like you have to work and save that money, that $2,000 to buy a couch, it gives you a whole other perspective on whether you really want to buy that couch or not. And it also gives you a much better feeling about it. When you haul something into your house that you supposedly paid $2,000 for, but in reality you gave them nothing, and you know that you've got a big debt there and that the value of this thing is going down rapidly, it's not a great feeling. So if you want to get out of debt, I really encourage you to join the Facebook group. Come and walk together with us all. And people are supporting one another in doing this, in addition to all the other great things they want to do with their lives financially. Now, if you don't have debt, hallelujah, fantastic. And come on and join in the journey with us as well, because we're working on all the other aspects of our personal finances. So I really encourage you, go and download the calculator. You go right to it, and remember, you just click on the template, use template button, and you'll be going right out of the gate. And then you just clear out their data and enter your own in. If you need more help with it, come on into the Facebook group, and we can help you see more about how to do it. And you can join the Facebook group by going to facebook.com/groups/SP or Simple Plan Community. So facebook.com/groups/Simple Plan Community. So if you follow this plan, you're going to find that you're going to have a target. What's my debt freedom date? You'll be able to say, listen, I'm working it. I'm hammering away at it, and I'm going to be debt free by such and such a date. And you're going to, once you start focusing on these things, other things usually start to happen that help contribute to making these things get done. What we focus on gets done. What gets measured gets done. And once you start focusing and measuring, you'll find that things start happening that you weren't planning, that propel you faster toward your goals. So I really look forward to seeing you in our Facebook group. Next week, we're going to have our next episode in this series, and we're going to be giving you the tools and the ideas to take you another step down the road in your financial journey. I hope you'll join with us together. Come on into the Facebook group, get your debt calculator, make that progress. You're going to feel great about it. I'm thankful that you joined us today. I really appreciate the opportunities you give us to serve your family, to help you with your financial security and your financial plans. And we're here to support you every step of the way. Come on into the Facebook group. Drop us a note, whatever you want. We're here to help. We're always here to help. Great to be with you. Thanks very much. We'll see you again next week.